Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan and today I'm talking about my June TBR, which is going to be a little bit different for me. I am someone who really likes having a planned TBR, and in a normal month I do a lot of like themed reading vlogs and things like that where I know exactly what I'm going to be reading pretty much every week throughout the month. However, June needs to be different. For one thing, I'm a little bit burnt out on super strict TBRs from the last several months, and I feel like for summer I just need a little bit of flexibility and to kind of try out mood reading a little bit, but also June is going to be a very, very busy month for me personally. My family has a whole bunch of weddings going on this summer. Actually, let me just talk through all of the 6 weeks between the first week of June and the second week of July. Basically, the first weekend of June, we have a Friday wedding that is located 7 hours away from us. So we will be driving up there for that, taking a day off of work, bringing the kids and everything. And then the second weekend in June is my son's first birthday. So we will be throwing a birthday party for him at our house. And then the next 2 weekends in June are also weddings, also 7 hours away from us. So we will be driving again both of those weekends. And then the first weekend in July is obviously the 4th of July. As of now, I don't know of any plans we have, but obviously there are going to be like parades and barbecues and things going on in our neighborhood. I'm hoping for no travel, but I do know it's going to be a busy holiday weekend. And then the second weekend in July, one more wedding. So with all of our weekends pretty much booked at this point, I don't really know what to expect for my reading. On one hand, like I said, we're going to be doing a ton of driving. So that could lead to a lot of reading time, whether our kids are asleep and I can read physically in the car, or if I'm the one driving, I will put on an audiobook. But outside of that driving time, I don't know what other reading time I'm gonna have because I'm gonna be doing a lot of packing and planning, and then obviously be involved in the festivities and things going on. So it could be a big reading month or it could be a small reading month. I'm just gonna go with the flow and take it as it comes and not put too much pressure on myself. But with that being said, I still wanna know kind of what books I should have on my TBR for the month so I know which ones to pack. Obviously, I can look for which ones are on audio and I can just have a little bit of a plan because I am a person who likes a plan. So my idea for this month's TBR is to actually just share all of the books that are on my general want to read list, books that I own, and have you guys tell me which ones I should prioritize, and then I can kind of mood read as I want to. So I'm going to share a bunch of books that are possibilities for my June TBR, and I want you to leave a comment with at least one book that you think I should prioritize and read in June. And then whenever it's time for me to start a book, I will come back to this video, I will look at the comments, I will pick either the most popularly suggested book, or if you leave me a really good reason for why you want me to read a particular book, like say one of the books you know is really light and easy and you're like, you need a break, you should read this one because it'll be a really quick weekend read. Or maybe it has a trope or a plot or something that you know I will really like. If you leave that in the comment, then maybe I will pick that out and read that for that reason because I'm in the mood for it. So that's all, that's how I'm thinking it's gonna work. So let's get into the books that I have and the books that are possibilities for me to read in June. The first stack of books that I have are Kristin Hannah books because she is an author that I've recently gotten into. I like historical fiction. I always knew I was going to like her books. I had just never taken the plunge to actually read them before, but I have 4 unread books by her on my shelf. I would say one of them is fairly popular that I've heard a lot about. It's Firefly Lane. This has been turned into a Netflix series. I have not seen it. I don't really know anything about the plot. I think it's either about sisters or best friends, but this one is quite chunky. And then the other 3 books that I have by her are a little bit lesser known, and I do want to get a little bit more into her backlist, but they are Winter Garden, Magic Hour, and Distant Shores. This one is definitely my favorite cover. I really love the rainbow colors. Also, this book is pretty short, especially for Kristin Hannah. So if you have read any of these and have a recommendation, please let me know. Or if you want me to just continue working through her backlist, then that is a possibility. I also have a pretty large stack of Colleen Hoover books to get through. And these are all part of her series. I have not read any of her series yet, but these are a lot of her oldest books that are series together. And I'm not actually completely sure all of the books that go together, but I have Hopeless and Losing Hope, which I'm pretty sure are a series together. I think there might be a third, but I don't own it. Same with Maybe Someday and Maybe Not. I think there's one more book to kind of complete this trilogy, but I've got 2 of them. I've also got Slammed and This Girl, which I think are in the same series. Actually, it looks like This Girl is book 3, so I am missing book 2, but if somebody's really passionate about this series, I will buy book 2. And then Finding Cinderella and Finding Perfect are both like very small novellas that I think might tie into one of those series that I already mentioned. I don't know exactly how they all work together, but I do want to read all of Colleen Hoover's books at some point, so I've kind of just been collecting them as I find them. And then if I commit to reading a series, I probably want to read it just all at once, so I will purchase any missing books that I have. And then some other books that I want to prioritize if possible are newer releases. So books that have come out either in 2021 or 2022. So I've got a small stack of those. The first is Falling by TJ Newman. This is a thriller about an airplane like hijacking basically. I haven't heard the best reviews of it, but I think it sounds like something I would like. So this is one I want to get to sooner than later, and it's pretty short. I've got Heard It in a Love Song by Tracy Evans. This author, I have read her 2 previous novels called On the Island and The Girl He Used to Know. They're both romances and I gave them both 5 stars, which is unheard of for me, but they are very emotional. So I'm hoping that this is the same. I think it's a romance. I really know nothing about it. It looks to be maybe a little bit historical fiction-y, which I am down for. And again, as long as it has some emotional elements, I think I will like it. We've got In the Quick by Kate Hope Day. This is a sci-fi space book, it appears. I picked it up purely because it had a pink, beautiful cover and also because I like space books. I hadn't heard of it, but it did release in 2021, so it's a new release. It's another short book. Clearly, I'm just in the mood for short books right now. So if I get in a space sci-fi mood, this might be a good one to pick up. Another release that has just recently come out in 2022 is Finlay Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead. This is the sequel to Finlay Donovan is Killing It. This is a very popular mystery series, so I probably don't have to explain too much about what it's about, but we're following our main character Finlay as she gets herself into the middle of some hijinks. And the first book was super fun. I think I gave it 4 stars. Highly enjoyed it, so I am definitely anticipating this sequel to that one, and I know people are also really enjoying this one. I think the consensus is it's not as great as the first book, but it's still really solid, and there is going to be more books after this in the series, so I would like to keep up with it. And then the last new release book that I have, also published in 2022, is one that I bought at Target, kind of an impulse buy based on the cover. It's called Arrival Stories, and it's a nonfiction book about women who share their experiences of becoming mothers. Amy Schumer is one of the people who collected all of these short stories and I guess put this together. I have heard nothing about this by anyone else, but I am intrigued. I am a mother myself, so I feel like I will connect with a lot of these stories. Again, really short. It might be good to mix in some nonfiction because I do read mostly fiction, but I think this could be a nonfiction that I enjoy. And then to kind of round out the TBR, like I mentioned, a lot of those books are really short, which I'm excited for, but I do like a long book every once in a while, and I do have 2 long books on my TBR, or on my physical TBR, I should say, that I could make time for this month if I wanted to. I probably, actually definitely will not get to both of these, but if there is enough of a push for one of them, I may make time. First option is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. This is a classic, I think. I don't really know anything about it other than it's very confusing and intimidating, but I do think the concept of a catch-22 situation is something that I am interested in, and I would love to know kind of the origin of that phrase. And my husband has read this, so I do think I could talk to him about it, but I'm scared to read this book because I don't want to be super confused or bored. So if anyone has read this and wants to give me some words of encouragement, or if anyone is wanting to read this and wants to read it with me so we can discuss it as we go along, I would appreciate that. But otherwise, I will just let it continue to sit on my shelves because I'm scared of it. The other chunky book that I have that is a little less scary, I'm not scared of understanding it, but I am a little bit intimidated by the size, is Dune by Frank Herbert. This is a sci-fi book, recently turned into a movie. Honestly, I know nothing about it. My husband also wants to read this one, so maybe we could read it together. But basically, I just want to read the book before I watch the movie. I'm hoping it's mostly realistic sci-fi, but I feel like it might lean a little bit into almost fantasy, so that's a little worrisome. But maybe if I know that going in, it will catch me less off guard and I'll be able to follow it. I don't know. I want to read it eventually, so it's on my list, but it'll definitely be a project once I eventually get to it. So I think that's it. That's all I'm gonna go with for my tentative June TBR. Please let me know which of these books you would like me to read. If none of these strike your fancy and you want to recommend me other books, I would also be interested in picking up books that are either available on Scribd or Hoopla as an audiobook, especially because June is obviously Pride Month. I would love some LGBTQ+ book recommendations that I could get on one of those platforms. I would be more than happy to throw on an audiobook. Like I said, while I'm driving is a super easy time for me to listen. So if you have any recommendations that you think I would love, just let me know. But that is it for my June TBR. A little bit different for me. Who knows if I'm actually gonna get to any of these books in June, but I hope I at least get to some of them and I enjoy them, of course. Let me know what you are planning to read in June and if your personal life is as crazy as mine or if you get to have a nice, relaxing, fun summer. If you do, I'm really jealous. But other than that, I don't think I have anything, so I will let you go. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.